Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kimbo's Comfort Kitchen. And today we are going to talk about one of the main events for any holiday meal, and that is the mashed potatoes. You know, it's always tough to get them out hot, piping hot at the same time that you got your turkey carved and everything else is happening all at once. Well, I'm going to share with you today a way that you can put your potatoes on hold. My grandma taught me this a long time ago. What we're going to do is we're going to mash potatoes. I'm going to show you exactly the best way to mash them. We'll get into that right now. Talk about that in a sec. But here's the important takeaway. We are going to boil the potatoes. Once they're boiled, we're going to wrap them in a tea towel. Then we're going to wrap them in a bath towel. And then we're going to put them to bed. My grandma would take them and put them in a big duvet. And they'll hold for an hour. So while you're doing everything else, getting everything else finished and ready to go, at the last minute, what you do is you pull the potatoes out from the bed, take them out, they're piping hot, mash them, and by the time you've done that, you've got your turkey on the table, and the last thing you put out are the steaming hot mashed potatoes. I know it sounds crazy, but it works every time, and so many of my friends have thanked me over the years, so I'm hoping that this works for you too. All right, let's get going. Okay, so making mashed potatoes isn't exactly rocket science, but it kind of is. It kind of is. What I've done is I've chopped up some Yukon Golds. Now, obviously, I'm not making for 8 people tonight, but I'm just doing this to show you what to do. It's cold water. You want to start with cold water and the potatoes. And I'm also going to salt the water. And don't worry about how much salt, really, because all that's going to be drained off as soon as when you drain it. Now, this is going to be one of your lifesavers when you're making big dinner. And I'll show you afterwards why. I'm going to take this, by the way, and throw this on the stove. It'll cook for about 20 minutes. And I say about 20 minutes because potatoes all cook differently depending on how fresh they are. If they're really fresh, like right out of the field, they take longer to cook because they haven't degraded as much. Older potatoes take less time. It doesn't really change anything in the flavor, but you got to monitor it. And this old adage, you want to look at them as being fork tender. So as soon as they're fork tender, I'm going to pull these and we'll go from there. Okay, so here's the next stage. Potatoes are fork tender, like that. And I'm telling you, this is going to make your life so much easier because I'm going to drain 90% of the water out of here. As you can hear, along with all that salt and everything else we had. Okay, and you know, you can do a full pot, it doesn't matter. I've only got a third of a pot here for just about like 5 people, but if you're doing for a bunch of people, it's not a big deal. And I'm going to leave that much water in the bottom. I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to wrap this in a tea towel. And then once I wrap it in a tea towel, I'm going to take it to the bedroom, and I'm going to wrap it in a bath towel, and I'm going to stick it in the duvet, and I'm going to leave this for an hour. And it's pretty amazing, and I'll show you that in just a sec. Okay, kids, it's an hour later. Potatoes are put to bed, and I'm going to finish draining the rest of the water off from the taters. There we go, and there you have it. Steaming hot, they're beautiful, and we're going to make some fluffy mashed potatoes. And just to put this in perspective, right now we have, well, actually I'm going to put some whole cream in here to start with, and some parsley. I'm going to focus on this first, and I'll tell you about the other stuff later. How's that? And we're going to use some truffle oil, and I'm going to add salt because most of the salt got drained out in the salted water, and I've got raw egg. So now I'm going to take these Yukon Golds, which were peel on, by the way, which is one more step that saves you, and we're going to mash these. As I said, You know, you can mash, I've only got a third of a pot here, but if you've got like 12 people, you could easily do this for them. And look how warm this is. Meanwhile, your turkey is sitting already carved in the oven. And it's a little dry, so I'm going to add just a little bit more cream. And everything else is done. This is the last dish that you're doing. Now, if you check on my website, there's a schedule that shows you exactly how to get all this stuff out hot, steaming hot, all at once. And make it so easy. It's a 2-day schedule, but you know what? On the day of, it's so easy. And it takes all the stress out. Look at that. Now that's creamy mashed potato. Let me get a spoon. Now look at that. Hello. Say hello to my little friend. These are, these are pretty darn good. But you know what? I want just a little bit more. And you know, this is the finale to your dinner. And you put this in a bowl. You can see by the camera that it's still steaming hot. It's amazing. I really wish you all happy holidays, Merry Christmas, for those of you that are watching it for this episode. And we shall talk soon.